Call to order the Public Safety Committee for Tuesday, March 29th, 2022. Let the record show all committee members are present, with the exception of Alderman Witt and Alderman Tanis. We're running a little late. Approval of the minutes from the previous meeting, Tuesday, January 18. I'd like to make a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Crawford. All in favor?
Aye.
Unfinished business, we have none. New referrals, so this one, wanted to talk to everyone, just to let them know what's going on down in Ward 6 with, streets 19th and 20th streets that are, running along with Washington Street along the trail. We have some residents down there, to include myself, that are having issues with water backing into their homes and into the yards. Some of these residents have sent in letters, and they've also contacted National Grid, and they've one or two have talked to the mayor.
I got pictures here if you
Yeah, I have some pictures here I can send around
Okay.
of the issues down in that area. It's something that's been going on for a while now, and the residents are pretty much to the point where they're fed up. They've sought out legal counsel, and they have got tons of pictures, tons of documentation, and they're looking for the city to do something down there. I'm not an engineer, but it seems that either the sluice needs to be bigger down there, or something is clogged, the drainage, or something between that creek that's running down behind the trail heading towards Walmart area. But something is not flowing correctly, so anytime we have one of these 100-year storms, which is every year for us, it seems to back up, and then it affects everyone's homes. I've only been affected twice. Unfortunately, these people were affected every time we have a big downpour. I personally had our safety, health, and environmental person come down, and the first thing she noticed was that it's a wetland.
They're pretty dead,
So-
it's like a pond.
Yeah, that's the grass area that's next to the trail, so, yeah.
So are you talking about the green area, Vernon, that's between Washington and West State?
Yes.
Okay, because I noticed the other day on the other side of that, where it starts to bend back towards Constitution,
That's
that
the
was
area.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's Washington and Constitution, that
Yeah.
section down there.
okay,
Yep.
that's really bad
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, you can fish it.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
you can fish it.
Yeah.
So, you know, the day that I brought the safety, health, environmental, individual down, we smelled, sewage. I was told that it wasn't, but, you know, we don't know for sure unless it would have been tested that day, but you can smell it in the air. And there's pictures of, kids that were actually playing in that water down there, so that's a huge safety issue there. But some of the, letters, in the letters that they sent, you know, some of them have said that, the water will sit 2-3 days, after a heavy rain. Some have had to install sump pumps to take care of their basements where they've never had to do that before. We had another one, say that, you know, their backyard has been turned into a wetland, mosquito infested swamplands, and that of course is, helping with the deer population down there. Another one complained of the mosquitoes late in the summer because of how damp and wet, you know, because it's a wetland down there now. And, when it rains, it melts, rains or melts from the snow. Their backyard is filled with water around the house. And this particular resident said they own about an acre, and 2/3 of it is unusable because it's turned into a wetland. And, you know, and all of the comments are pretty much the same. So the reason why I wanted to bring it to the council is that, at some point, we're gonna have to decide what we're gonna do as far as approving some type of funding or something to get this rectified before it turns into some type of legal action against the
Is that
city.
city-owned property or is that Megamox?
It's city-owned property, the right-of-way belongs to National Grid. National Grid has the right to allow their properties to grow up to 4 or 5 feet. And they currently pay someone down there to take care of the landscape as good neighbors. but when you get to a certain section down there, because it's wet, they just let it go, so that is all grown up, and hence the wetland. There are animals down there that are protected now, so nothing can be done about that. Environmental, DEC is probably gonna have to get involved with that, so, I can't say anything else about National Grid's part, but, they're basically staying put, saying, you know, we're doing a lot right now, that's basically what I gathered, so.
Can I, this complaint has been going on, I know as long as I've been mayor, and I think it was going on way before that. And, last year, we had the sloughs cleaned out, and then, I know the plan was to take a look at, putting a bigger sluice in. So, I think that's what we have to do I think we should do a comprehensive study to get a solution. Instead of a Band-Aid, let's get a solution to the problem down there. So,
Well, we could probably do both too, that definitely needs Band-Aid, nothing bleed,
Yeah,
but yes.
yeah, you know, the residents, they're pretty much to a point now where they've had enough. A lot of them have been down there for many years, and they're just, you know, they're sick of cleaning their basements and sucking their basements out every time there's a heavy rain, or not being able to use the backyard they're paying taxes for, so. Just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention, and hopefully we can do something here in the near future to go ahead and get that started. Any other questions or comments for this committee? So approval of committee reports, we have none. If there's no other questions or anything, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Can I get a second?
So second.
A second by Alderman Gonzalez. We are adjourned.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right, I'll call to order strategic planning for Tuesday, March 29th. Just wanted to make sure that we have quorum here. Let the record show that 3 out of the 5 members are present. Alderman Panis and Alderman Witt are excused. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous committee meeting. Could I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Robinson. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Unfinished business? None. We have a new referral for consideration on Marcus Park, the City of Olean, and in tandem collaboration. So, Alderman Robinson.
Thank you. All right, here we go. So, first week of February, I presented the council a presentation on Marcus Park. That presentation was basically just something to kind of give us an idea of what the park could look like. Not something that I was looking to say, hey, we should do this, but to just say, you know, if we could do something similar to this, or, you know, bring this to light, you know, we could really change that area altogether. Well, in tandem, got a hold of me, and the mayor and myself went over and had a meeting with the representatives there, Larry Howard and Larry Sorokas, and they had an idea of utilizing Marcus Park. What they would like to do is go on a collaboration with the city and pretty much bring forward the bulk of the funding. They cited the proximity as being the best location in all of the city to bring their park and bring inclusiveness to this area. And then, of course, with the background, with Tandem being right there next to the park, that made perfect sense. The Olean project, the trail that's gonna come in down through there behind Country Fair could tie in and allow Marcus Park to tie into that trail, and also the Olean City Trail, or the Allegheny Trail. And then again, the inclusiveness, because the dedication to to our community with disabilities is a no-brainer, and it's much needed to show that Olean is progressing forward in its ideals and benefits and its beliefs. So we want to attract more people to this community. They love the idea that I had pitched back then, and they love the layout that Bob Ring illustrated with Marcus Park. And just a refresher, those things included the inclusive play area, the paved trail around the park, the splash pad, the family barbecue areas, the dog park, the park benches backed by local businesses for sponsorships, installation of art signs at both ends of the park, and then green space, shrubs and trees. And Tandem is also thinking of removing their eastern parking lot to join it with Marcus Park to make the park even larger. And this will be an extension, of course, as I already said, to the Allegheny Trail. So, and Tandem's goal is $500,000, and they're already at $250,000. They've already raised another $100,000 from the community. We figure with the city's budget, we had $50,000 slated for the inclusive park, but no park was designated. So they're asking that if they provide the funding and we can provide the $50,000, then they would bring the rest of the funds forward. It basically leaves another $100,000. They're $100,000 away, but they will be able to raise that quickly now that they would have a potential spot if the council agrees. Unfortunately, we don't have quorum, so.
We have a quorum of this committee.
Okay, very cool. So, and Tandem already has an engineer. They have an engineering firm that's familiar with the area and familiar with the playground equipment and so forth. And they're looking forward to start immediately if the council okays it. So, I mean, this is something that I brought forward and I thought perfect. What better way to get this park reactivated, change the whole entire thing and make it inclusive to everyone, regardless of who you are, young, old, regardless of anything, you know, everything will be at this particular park. And it's in a other part of the city that people don't venture, so more people will venture to that part of town and do things there. So it helps that we just had in the paper that some other stores and everything are coming to Olean on that end down in Ward 6. So, I mean, what better way to get on the trail, hop down there, go get Chipotle, and go work it out, run around the trail and work it out. So hopefully the council agrees and will be willing to do that. And I meant to pass this around, but this here is copies of some of the playground equipment they have that they're interested in putting in this park.
You're talking about the little park that's, not the little park, but the
Parking lot.
the portion of the park that's like over right field, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right here?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's cool, yeah.
Yep.
There'd be a track that goes around that?
Yep, so the park will, the entire Marcus Park will have it's a quarter-mile track that will go around the whole entire track. We had it where the parking lot, the driveway in right now would go in completely and go right across the back of the baseball field. The baseball field fence would get cut short, so we can use the existing fencing and cut that fence short. And then that will be the dog park, a little small section there. That part for the driveway will be parking on both sides, so it'll just be a big arch. And it'll be wheelchair accessible. All of the equipment will be accessible and inclusive. And then where you were just looking on that picture, all the way to the back to that back fence line, they were talking about removing that fence line and getting rid of their parking lot there and having the park go further out back there.
Like all the way back to Reed?
Yes,
Got it.
yes. And then that will connect to the potential trail that's gonna come across back there from 12th Street.
I see.
Alderman Crawford.
So as you know, as you guys are well aware, I mean, my brother spent over 30 years of his life living at the rehab center, now in Tandem. And when Alderman Robinson brought forward this project to this partnership with in Tandem, I could think of no better purpose in our community to utilize the $50,000 that we set aside to leverage an inclusive playground than to go and partner with in Tandem at Marcus Park. I had the opportunity to sit down and talk to Mary Howard, and she shared a vision and the reason why she would like to see it as close to the trail as possible was for families to go to the park regardless of ability and be able to jump on the trail right there, wheels and all, wheels, legs, whatever, and go down and get ice cream together on Constitution Avenue. And she said, you know, imagine if your mom and your brother and you know, myself as a child would have had something like that, the memories we would have shared together. And that's pretty much all she needed to do to sell me on the idea, because this is absolutely needed. And the fact that In Tandem has done most of the heavy lifting, I mean, what better way to revitalize a park that has not seen life in a long time, and what better purpose could there possibly be? So, to me, this is easily a slam dunk. This is great coordination between Vernon and the mayor's office and In Tandem. I mean, I just think this has awesome synergy written all over it, and I 100% would stand behind this project.
I think this is a win-win, so, you know, and this is, like John said, you know, the visions are there, you know, and one of the points that Mary made was that, you know, families using the trail where they don't have to put everybody back in the vehicle and drive, and that makes it very nice. So I think this is a win-win for everyone, for them, for us, you know, for the entire community. And I think what we're looking for is permission from the council to move forward with this, with working with In Tandem.
Sounds like a no-brainer.
Yep,
So,
got it.
I'm not on the committee, but I'm in support of it.
I mean, this would end up, you guys, Sonia, I know you're new, whether you're on this committee or not, right? This ends up going as a resolution for all 7 of us to vote on. So if you have, we don't hold fast to the committee, assignments. So if you have any thoughts, I mean, we'll all end up voting on this. By all means, please, you know, you guys, your input is certainly welcome.
Well, I would say I think that we should get it on as soon as we can, because I think rarely do we have the opportunity to partner with someone who is going to foot the majority of the bill on such an important thing for our community, because so many times, you know, kids that we've seen and adults, right, they have not been able to participate in the activities even that we've sponsored as a city, and even as we look around for other things. So I would say that we should make sure we get this on right away.
Yeah, I agree. And just to add on to that, one of the, probably the most important things for our residents in Olean, if this goes through, it's free. You know, anyone can go there, anyone can enjoy it. You know, it's a park that everyone will be allowed to go to and enjoy the benefits of it. So,
I think another thing to, you know, another thing that's very attractive about this, on top of everything else that's been mentioned, is the fact that it's adding another park to the trail network, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the goal needs to be that you can get on that trail on your bike and you can hit every single park in the city without touching a road,
right.
not going on West State Street, you know what I mean? And you go all the way to Bona's, you can get ice cream, you can hit it all.
That's it.
That's something that is uncommon and very valuable.
You know, when we, whatever it was, about a year ago, set aside that money for the purpose of the inclusive park, I just saw potentially, I would be happy with some upgrades, right? Just a wheelchair-friendly swing in the city. And then, you know, Larry and Mary reached out and said they were working on something. They've held some events to do fundraising, and what an incredible vision they have for what this park could be. And when we put that money aside, it's amazing the amount of people and families that we don't even know who reached out and said, this is what we need, this is what we've been asking for, right? My child is wheelchair bound, or my child has, sensory problems, and to have an inclusive park that has something for everybody, I think is so important. All children, all families, they need parks that they can spend good quality time together with. And it's been a long time since, and it's awesome, this council has taken it upon themselves, along with the mayor's office and the department heads to start improving our parks. And things that through my entire life, I haven't seen touched, and now it's getting done. And so this is another one, sometimes it just falls in your lap, right? And this is another box that gets checked, and it is a benefit to taxpayers at the lowest possible cost, so.
Alright,
So, we'll be, bringing forward a resolution, as long as the tandem's good to go, we'll bring it forward. You can, put forward a resolution, probably right to resolution, after we've discussed it, everyone has given their verbal good, and we'll just bring it, you can submit it as a resolution for either next Tuesday or the
following.
following,
Yeah.
yeah,
Second week.
yeah.
So the second, I think it's April 12th.
Or you can-
I'll be zooming.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, either that or,
This is fine.
that's fine.
Yeah.
April 12th.
Okay.
All right. I appreciate you guys' support on this.
Oh, that's me. Okay, seeing no other discussion on that, there are no committee reports. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Could I get a second, please?
So,
Seconded by Alderman Robinson. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We are adjourned. I'll call to order finance for Tuesday, March 29th, 2022. Let the record show that all aldermen are present, with the exception of Chairman Witt, who may be coming a little bit later, and Alderman Panis, who is running late as well. So, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous committee meeting, which was held March 9th and March 14th and March 15th. Could I get a second, please?
Second.
Seconded by Alderwoman McCall. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. No unfinished business, but we have our new referrals for consideration. Continuing discussion on water sewer rates and the rate structure. So I'd like to invite back up to the round table here. Red Camp. Hey, Jason.
you missed the good stuff, Jason.
Really? Oh, man, I didn't have any pizza just to wait for me.
You don't have any extras, do you?
Yeah, I'm just having them around there.
Thank you. Are these the same?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just give me a second to take a peek at that.
This is the same as last time, right, Brett?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Yep, same as last time. I didn't get any questions or anything on this from last time, but we can go over, the current practices on the left-hand side. You got residential, commercial, and industrial. And then you got the proposed changes on the right-hand column in the same order. You can see, the usages and the monthly charge for those usages.
Brett?
Yep.
May I interrupt?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I've given this a lot of thought, I've had conversations with, many of the aldermen on this. And I try to live, I think we all try to kind of go with the 80-20 rule. I think that some feedback here, and I did kind of bounce some off, a little feedback off the mayor. Most of us don't necessarily feel good with placing a greater financial burden, which can amount to essentially a 5% increase on probably 80% of the homeowners, in terms of their water rates. Now, with that being said, a possible alternative is, rather than adjust those first two levels, why not eliminate the discounts on the bottom levels? So, I mean, you've already eliminated the lowest threshold, 27,000 gallons or more.
Mhm.
Why not take it one step further
Mhm.
and eliminate the discount on the greatest usages, leaving 0 to 2,600, that maintains the minimum, and then the 2,600 to, whatever, 10,000 gallons or 12,000 gallons, and leaving those as is, even if it means a 1% increase or something to that, 1 or 2% increase to those rates. We'll make up the revenue by eliminating the steep discount on the highest usages. That was some of the feedback that I came up with as far as recommendations and thoughts.
So
I don't know.
basically, the rate would be, from 0 to 2,600, it would be 0.00996, right? And then from 2,601 to the sky would be 0.00811.
That would be my recommendation. That's what my thought is.
I like that idea.
It eliminates, again, if you're using more than 27,000 gallons at a house, you're not a house, okay? So I guess that's, or you got a really leaky faucet, so I guess that would be what I would feel comfortable with, and I think 80% of the residents would feel comfortable with that too, right? Because effectively our water bill wouldn't change.
So is it that we're saying that about 80% of the households are in that 0 to 2,600? Is that what you're?
No.
No. So how
Up
is
to
it?
12,000.
Okay, so up to 12,000 is about 80%. So if we factor that out, right, and we did the math, we would come out close to what's being projected the other way.
We would make the revenue by eliminating the discounts for the high usage, the ultra users.
So 20% are in that higher category than the 12,001, 601 on up.
I'd like to see those, well, actually, that's facetious, I would actually like to see the numbers, but I would suspect that the additional revenue to the city under the way you're talking about wouldn't be as great as it would be if we did it the proposed way,
Sure.
right? We're gonna make more money, the city's gonna make more money. I'm not saying that should be our goal, I'm saying it might mean that we need, like Brad needs to go back to the drawing board with, as far as his budget goes. It is what it is, I'm just, trying to point out.
I mean, it comes down to what is the increase in cost that we have to offset,
Right,
right?
right.
Do we need to raise revenue by 5%? What is the budgetary cost?
Yeah, I don't know.
We need to offset.
Yeah.
Right, so the way I propose it is, there's basically the 2,400 gallons between the 2,600 and the 5,000 gallons that I proposed is what's going up.
Correct.
It's not getting that 18.6% discount on the 2,400 gallons.
Which is a large percentage of older individuals, single individuals living,
Family of four,
right?
up through family of four. I think when I met with Brad, we said like a family of four is going to be impacted by that.
Right. So I just did, just a real quick, and I think there was only 3 aldermen that would have been impacted. So John, your usage for, February of 22, your bill would go up $3.92 for that month.
What was my total bill?
Current practice would be 4309, proposed would be 4701.
Wait a minute, your water bill's $47?
No, it
Monthly,
doesn't seem right.
monthly.
Yeah, I was
monthly.
gonna say,
Monthly.
yeah, no
You're
kidding,
talking
mine's like
That-
over
that's
100.
no sewer in there, it's just water.
That's just water.
water.
Okay.
Ah,
Yeah, you don't wanna know my sewer bill, that was.
What's going on in your, oh, that's just water, that's just water. Okay,
John,
that's
you
more
use
like
more
it.
water than I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought I used a lot.
You wanna hand that over?
We like to do laundry.
How many times do you flush your toilet a day?
Just leaves it
You were one of
running
the ones
like
that
the
was
day.
I wasn't impacted.
No,
So,
the rest of you,
just to recap that, all right, so yeah, it's $4, right, from $43 to $47, right?
About,
yeah,
That's almost a 10% increase in my monthly water bill,
yeah.
okay? That's real money to a lot of people. That's a 9% increase to a water bill for a family of 4. That's what I'm talking about, okay? That's a problem. I get it. Our financial position can handle it. I get it, but a lot of people in Olean can't. And I think we're going about this the wrong way. I still haven't heard someone give me the argument, why do we give these steep discounts to the biggest users? What validation does someone that uses over 15,000 gallons, you're increasing mine 9%, but yet people that are running up over 15,000 gallons a month are still getting a huge percent off. Why? I don't get it.
The only thing I can think, John, is that kind of mentality may have been based off of larger residential units, something that's all together, where you got a complex,
Oh, you mean a
100
business?
units in it or something,
You
yeah.
mean a business?
Oh, yeah,
Not a residence, a
Right.
business, yes.
but they're under perhaps. Well, I think then they figure out how to separate their water within their apartment buildings and.
And that would benefit us, because there'd be how many of those minimums that absolutely, Sonia, that would benefit the city.
If
That-
they're under there, then they shouldn't be then. It's my
I
thought.
agree.
Well, there's very few accounts that fall under those 2 bottom, those 2 steep discounts that you're talking about. That would be the only concern that I would have,
Mhm.
getting rid of those. I agree, yeah, we need to work towards that top. But there's no way that that's gonna make up the difference of what I'm proposing, increasing that, that top bracket.
But you can't tell me.
The only time people fall into those extremes are a water line breaks or something like that, or, they're,
So then we don't have really, I mean, it's a larger percentage than that's up in this 0 to 12,600 than 80% then. If we only have a few that fall into the last one.
well, the other ones would be commercial or industrial.
Right, I meant up here though. So what do we do though, what do we need to do though to make the budget work is in part what we need to look at.
That's my question, exactly.
And I would have to go back and see how many accounts fall generally, because obviously it changes month to month, how many generally fall into those categories, and I'm thinking it's very few.
So so this hopefully should be fairly easy, this is per month, right? 15, so could you tell me how many would have fallen in that bottom under your proposed? How many is 15,000 or more? Would you be able to look for February? Would you be able to look that up?
Yeah,
right? Not for the whole year, just for February, just,
Huh?
curiosity, how many are over 15,000 gallons?
Yeah, I can look that up, yeah.
Then why do we have it? Then eliminate it. If there's nobody that falls in that category, why not eliminate it altogether?
There's gonna be two categories that fall into that 15,000 plus.
Okay,
Homes that have 3 units with
Okay.
1 meter,
okay,
and people who will have a water leak of some kind.
okay.
Well, and I believe that if you have 3 units, that you're a
You should have
business,
three.
and that
You should have 3 meters, should be at 3 units.
they should be accountable and responsible for that.
You know, it makes sense to not even give a break, right? Cause it's just like 3 different people with a water bill.
I mean, personally, I look back at, you know, some of the statistics that he provided at the last meeting when we discussed this rate change. And, in there, I can't remember the exact wording, but of the amount of water that we produce, we're losing almost 50% of it. I mean, that in itself, so we can't afford to keep making a product and then not getting the return on that product, and then still provide a discount for that product. You know, something has to get. So, I mean, if you know, and I wrote this in a post, that, you know, no business can sustain, no one wants to hear that their bill is gonna go up. But at the same time, if the city can't afford to produce a product, then something has to give. So, I mean, I'm in favor of eliminating the discount, you know. We just set a set rate for X amount of gallons to X amount of gallons, and maybe have 1 or 2 levels and call it good. And it's something that has to happen. Unfortunately, it's just years' practice have caught up, and that's where we're at today.
And that was my approach really, was I'm looking at this as basically a 4 or 5 year project where we progressively get to where we need to be. And the first step was, you know, it's kind of a big bite, but it's not going all the way to one rate, this is where we're at. I mean, I just think that it's too much to do in a year,
Yeah.
you know?
Raising my water bill 9% is too much to do in a year, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So what do we need to do, because I think I remember we said that we have to adopt like the water rates by the end of April. So in order to make the budget balance, how does this water rate affect our ability to, with what you have here projected? I'm guessing that what you projected is in part, to balance it is based on the formula you have here for
Yeah.
how much water is being used in the rates.
Yes.
Okay.
How do you come up with that number, bro?
Well, I don't have that spreadsheet here. But I projected, Lenz and I projected the revenue at 3,993,847.
And the total expenditures we have to offset is 2.7 plus debt financing, I'm imagining, or not debt financing, but like, debt service. So what is the total expenditures that we're looking at?
3,983,847.
Keep in mind that we took out the $45,000 for capital layout. That was.
Oh, yeah.
We have to take that out now.
Yeah, so that's right.
Yeah, so it's 45 grand less.
Is it 3,927? Is that the, how much?
348,847.
Yeah, that was with the $45,000.
Removing that.
But we use contingency, fund to pay that for that capital layout.
Hey Lens, what's the water, what's the, what's the net, what's the revenue, can you give me the revenue, the projected revenue, the projected expenditures?
Projected revenue is 39.93.847.
39,993, okay, and then the projected expenditures,
39.48.847.
39,
48.847.
so that adds roughly about, call it, what, 45 to fund balance, to the water fund?
About there, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, what about there? Yeah, that's right.
Right? 3993 minus 3948, would add about 45, because we pulled 45 out.
Yep.
So it adds about 45 to the fund balance, to the water fund. Okay. So, 39. Water sense. I'm. So I'm looking in the budget lens, and I don't see, so on page 41, it says total appropriations is 3927. So is that the budget?
I think we made some adjustment after you got that book. I believe we did do some adjustments.
You made
Some adjustments.
You made adjustments
I believe we did, right?
to the tentative budget?
I believe we did, yeah.
Okay.
Because when we reworked the numbers
Okay.
Right.
after the first presentation,
Mhm.
and the numbers, some of the numbers changed. That's what you have.
All right, so we're at 3948, that's the total. So that,
Will be 3938, because you took that 10,000 out of the state retirement.
so now it's down 3938, you think?
3938,
We took out $10,000.
3938, is that total expenditures?
Yep.
We want, and that represents 3851 divided by 3851. That represents a 2% increase from the prior year's budget. So our expenditures have gone up 2.25%. Correct? So why is my water bill gonna go up 9%?
The structure,
I understand the
It's
structure,
structured.
I don't agree with it.
because from the get-go, when we did it at first, we used it, I think 2.8%. But when the structure came in place, I had to throw mine away and use his. I mean, we could go back and put it back to the way I had it. The 2% increase.
Well, I don't know, I mean, if I'm fighting for my constituents to have a 2% water bill increase or a 9% water bill increase, I'll fight for a 2%, but I mean, I don't know, doesn't anybody else, like, am I the only one that feels affected by this?
So you're talking about a 2% across the board then? Is that,
Yes.
as opposed to this rate?
Yeah, that's correct.
And the reason why I didn't go that route was because I wanted to try to stay away from the minimum fee payers.
Mhm. But I think that's going to affect the minimum fee payers the most, right?
No, the minimum fee payers get a pass,
Okay.
right, because they're within that,
They're gonna be.
so that
okay.
rate doesn't
Yeah.
change, right?
Gotcha.
They're just gonna suck more of us into that high, like, you know. So the little bit of a discount, I guess, and I don't even, wherever that, however many gallons we used, I don't know where that worksheet is. Is that over there by you, Paul? Just out of,
I mean, yours and mine?
yeah, so what did I, how
So you
many?
used 4,720 gallons.
Alright, so I used 4,700, yep, and 20 gallons. So now, right, that sucks all my 4,720 gallons of a family of 4 into the highest rate, thereby increasing my water bill by 9%. So, if we go back to the old style, I say just drop off the bottom one, if you wanna start there and spread it out over however many years, wouldn't bother me any, but, and increase all of those up by 2%, I guess that's 2.25% or whatever, I guess would be, I think, the fairest way.
You could probably, there's probably few enough accounts that fall into those two, extreme users that you could probably drop them both off.
Perfect. And even in those extreme cases, that's still gonna add more revenue to us than, right? Because at least they'll get the what, 0.0081, add on 2%, each of those, right? Add on 2%, boom, I'm good.
You know, like this
So-
structure.
So John,
Yeah, okay.
John, you're proposing then that really we go 0 to 5,000, 5,001 to infinity. And that we only have those two breakdowns, right?
I'm saying leave it the way it is. Drop off the bottom two. On the
Okay,
left-hand side,
gotcha.
Sonia,
Yep, gotcha.
so the minimum, 0 to 2,600. Tack on 2%, 2,600 to infinity, tack on 2%.
Would that get us to our magic number to balance out?
I think it would get us.
It's got to.
Yeah, I think it would get us there, yeah.
So leave this,
Yes, but,
plus two,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
get rid of
yep.
these two.
yep, exactly.
So this would become, 2,600, 2,601 to.
Infinity.
To infinity.
Yeah,
And beyond.
at 0.00811 plus 2.25%, so if you increase both of those 2.25%, that should tick and tie your to the expenditures. Right, if expenditures are going up 2.25%, then that's gonna go up 2.25%.
Brad, does this factor in at all the loss of consumption from the dresser site? That was a pretty big chunk of revenue, if I remember right.
We haven't really had any revenue loss yet from them,
Yeah,
so.
So we haven't seen, and we don't know what the future is there, so maybe we're okay, maybe we're not. Okay.
they're still producing, but
Mhm.
I don't know what the timeline is. Mayor, do you have any idea?
No, haven't had any updates in a while, so.
We talked about it, you know?
I mean, I know just from being out, out and about, I hear different people at different stages getting, where different ones are retiring or leaving
Yeah.
on dates, so people are still leaving.
We wanna move on to commercial?
If everybody's on board, I'm comfortable, if that's gonna make everybody else comfortable.
Because it looks like then anyone who would use similar water would go up for about maybe $1 versus the $3.92 based on it.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Okay.
So if we go down to commercial, you'll see I changed the, percentage discount
Mm-hmm.
and the proposed, and you can see that the rate structure is different. The rate structure, kind of mirrors what was up above here. It would be that 0 to 5,000 in that top tier, and then 5,000 to 15,000, would get a 10% discount. 15,000 to 30,000 would get a 15% discount, and anything over 30,000 would get a 30% discount.
Guess I'm confused at why we're doing discounts. Isn't it like a user fee water?
Well, pretty common to give discounts in commercial and industrial, especially industrial. Everywhere gives a discount for industrial, just because they use such a massive amount of water, typically. In this,
Is that the way it's been forever?
I don't know when we went to this structure, it was a long time ago. I can't find where the current structure was established, but,
I'm just saying, it's still costing us to make the water.
oh, right.
It's like, why are we giving such big discounts?
Right.
So I guess my question is kind of the same thing then. Of this, how many of our commercial properties kind of fall into these categories and who would it affect? It doesn't sound like it's gonna affect our small businesses for the most part. You know,
No.
like the stores on, Union Street.
Right.
Okay.
Do we have examples of commercial businesses that use a lot of water? I guess a car wash.
Car wash,
Right.
restaurants,
Right.
maybe?
Yeah, but they're making that money, they're charging $12, $14 a
$15
car.
or whatever for a full,
I don't feel
Yes,
sorry for
with
a
the
car
undercar.
wash.
Our largest commercial user is the hospital.
oh, they are considered commercial. Okay.
Yep.
So basically, all of our businesses, to include like the hospital and stuff, would fall under there, meaning the businesses like, our small independent stores and stuff.
Yeah. So this would really have it really has the biggest impact on any user that uses between 2,600 gallons and 5,000 gallons.
And then if you go over 30.
Yeah.
But even at the lower increase, it's still just over 2%.
Right, so the biggest impact is the 2,400 gallons to the 5,000 gallons user. And then, as you go up from 5,000, you can see that the discounts have changed a little bit. Also, commercial, I recommended increasing the sewer rate 5%, because typical commercial waste is stronger than residential, and it's non-regulated, like, industrial waste is all regulated through our retreatment program. So, I don't know if we wanna go back and forth with, if we keep residential under the current structure, basically with, removing those bottom two tiers, if we wanna stay with our current structure as well with commercial,
Well,
or,
it looks like that the impact on commercial, how you have it, is less than the impact was on residential with the increases.
Well, you're gonna affect more small businesses, right? I don't know what it looks like, Brad, as far as, I mean, we went over, obviously, the residential. I know a lot more families of four were impacted. I know we wanna be friendly to our small businesses in our community as well, right? And how many of them currently fall under what we would call the minimum, and then get an 8% discount up to 12,000? Would you say that's an 80% group as well, that 80% commercial falls under 12,000 gallons a month? Or 50%? Do we have any idea?
I have the spreadsheet breaking it down, how many fall into each
Mm-hmm.
tier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that with me. I thought I did, I thought I had in this packet, but I don't see it. I can email that out tomorrow, you know?
I mean, again, personally, I would assume maintain the current, drop off the bottom tier, and increase everything to maintain the same logic, increase 2 1/4. So again, it doesn't impact. A small business is gonna have the same impact, as the resident. By pulling in another large portion of them, giving them 0 discount on their water bill, pulling them into the 0 to 5,000 gallons, that's gonna increase their water bill just like our residential bill by 9%. There's gonna be small businesses that are gonna be impacted by that. I think it would behoove us drop off the bottom tier and increase everything 2.25%. Now, with that being said, does that bottom tier there, is that, you know, how many businesses does that impact?
Oh,
Right, 'cause if you're impacted by that last one,
Probably
you get kicked to the next one,
three,
you could have a
something
huge,
like
you could have a pretty significant difference, I would think.
I mean, water bill?
Yeah, if you're talking, let's say if the hospital's in that high one,
Yep,
and you
Yep.
eliminate it outright, so you're
yep,
going down to that next pay tier, that
Yep.
number could be.
right. No, you're right, Jason.
It would have a gigantic impact on the hospital.
Do we know approximately how much they use? Does anyone
Yeah.
have some real numbers?
Yep.
They have multiple accounts. What's in my office?
So if they have multiple accounts, do they all get combined into one to
No.
get the discounts or
No,
not?
no, they have, 4 accounts, and they vary from like 200,000 gallons to 1.4 million.
1.4 million total discounts.
Yeah.
So I would, then
That'll take a moment to do that calculation.
I would be interested to see what that would look like.
We'll work
though.
on it.
I'd be really interested to see what that would look like.
No,
I mean,
think
they're
so.
like 1 month for water and sewer for one of the accounts was 24 grand.
Right. What if we just eliminated that bottom discount from 33% to 25%, or what you have proposed, 30%?
Yeah, I mean, we could do that.
So it wouldn't be such a big bite.
Yeah.
30.
Is it 25 or 30?
So you wanna propose taking the 27,601 and thereafter rate, bringing it up to a 30% discount at 0.00697,
Yep.
and then from there increasing all the rates 2%.
Yep.
2.25.
2.25, right?
Okay. And, if we move down to industrial, you can see on our current industrial, usage structure, the bottom two, we charge a rate that is basically lower than it costs.
I was gonna say, we're losing money on.
Yes. Yes.
I 100% agree with this one.
So this, what I propose is really no change to the rate structure other than dropping the last one off and then changing the rate of the one just above it.
And the only question is, does this need to be, do we need to apply the 2.25% across this as well? Right, when we pass a water increase, it's across all the,
It's across.
it's across everything, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, that would be my
Do we have an idea
thought.
how competitive our industrial water rates are? Say somebody's out there looking to build new Siemens, and they're gonna use a ton of water, and they wanna say, hey, where's it make sense to,
Yeah.
money-wise, are we competitive, you know, are we in the zone of what's around us?
I haven't looked.
It's an interesting
I think it would be good to look at that point, right, make sure we're not, maybe we have room to go up, or maybe we have to stay just cause we wanna look competitive there.
If you will notice, the most expensive water rate we have in the industrial is, I believe, 25% off right off the top of what the top tier in industrial and commercial is. So right off the bat, it's knocked down quite a bit.
Right. Yeah, so you're saying the most expensive industrial
Yes.
is still 25%?
Less than what everybody else is paying.
Right. No, that's fair.
And we do have to be able to break even on water. Do we have anyone up in that 7,485,001 gallon?
No.
Well, then we just leave that one.
Yeah, that shouldn't have to do
Does Indec get close when they're running?
I think they're in the tier above that.
Okay.
Yep.
Who are some of the other industrial customers?
We have Eaton, we have, Atlantis, we have Solopoxy, Dresser, Cutco. Bonas.
The hospital's commercial.
Hospitals, commercial, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
I'm honestly, Brad, I'm comfortable with what you proposed here, and my only question was, wouldn't we have to increase 2.25%
I would say yes.
across the board there to maintain, and run the revenue figures and see what that falls out at?
I think revenue-wise, that'll put us actually ahead of what we're projecting. I think it's gonna have a greater impact than,
And run those figures, and we can always, maybe it only has to go up 2%, right? Maybe it's not 2.25, whatever it is to break even, however you wanna propose it, right? But let's run, I would feel more comfortable with that personally.
okay. And like I said, the only change in sewer was a 5% increase in commercial sewer rate.
I'm sorry, what was that, Brad?
The only change in sewer, on the sewer side, is the 5% in commercial.
Oh,
Commercial waste.
gotcha.
To help balance out the cost for,
Yeah, it's usually a higher strength. Typically, it's 20% more potent than residential. You figure you got all the restaurants with the grease and the Tim Hortons and all that. So that's more costly to treat. The one other change I would make too is when we do a resolution for these changes, to make sure that we put the minimums in the wording,
Okay,
rate structure,
okay.
because right now it's not on there. 1,600 minimum in residential, 2,600 in commercial, and 75,000 in industrial.
You said 1,600.
1,600 minimum is a residential.
That's because then you would be at this lowest cost, right? You're gonna be charged for 1,600 regardless of what you do, if you do,
Right.
yeah, if you're gone out of town, you're still
And
gonna
then
get
if
that
you use,
1,600.
if you use an additional 1,000, it's still under that top.
Yep.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know. Okay. Anything else?
I don't have anything.
Thanks, Brett.
Is there any questions on the budget?
Were there any questions on the budget?
I know we had talked about the janitorial service, I think I sent that around to everybody. quote was 21 grand.
I was good with the budget. Remove that one item.
There's a couple changes. The 45,000 that came off of water
Yep.
expenditures, and we also dropped down the retirement payment to 130 instead of 140.
Okay, so
For
save
each,
10 there.
10, each
Okay.
$20,000.
So would it be possible then, maybe Mayor, so we have to have everything adopted, hopefully we wanna get this done by the 12th, right?
Yes.
So would it be possible for us to get the new revenue projections with the rate changes that we've talked about here, and get an updated water sewer revenue expenditure, et cetera, maybe by next Tuesday, by the 5th?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah?
Do it more.
You look well rested. You look really well rested, like, you know, you've just been lounging on a beach.
I was in the sun for a couple hours. That helped.
It was the 3 hours in the warm weather.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Any other questions? All right, seeing none there, moving on to capital projects, and we've got lots of visitors here with us, and I'll turn it over to the mayor.
49 minutes to do it all. Actually, let's make it 39 minutes.
But what we wanted you to have was the first sheet on top here is a document that has the general fund, the fund balance, and we wanted to tell us what's in the fund balance right now. It's $3,312,629, and then what the 2021 budget. No, you revised it, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Everybody has the updated one.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The 2021 budget.
Yes.
That was 16,780,000, and so going with our policy of having 15% in our fund balance, that brings it out to 2,517,000, yeah, and some money there. The fund balance used in the tentative budget is $240,000, and so that calculates out that we have, to stay at our 15%, we have allowable right now $555,531.05. Okay. Now, in contingency for the current budget, we used 14,229, leaving us with 85,770. And then it's the same layout for the sewer, or for the water and the sewer here. And we've already, sewer, that's already been talked about, and we'll get you the figures that you asked for tomorrow. So we wanted you to have that information to start out. Now, the next document is the stimulus funds, or the ARPA funds. And we received $689,074.05 is what we received for the first payment of ARPA funds. So, okay, projected expenditures is $593,579, and where we got that figure is, we put together what has been spent so far, and that's in the activities down here. We got 85,344 for the those were the stretchers,
The power stretchers for
power stretchers, yes. And 58,235, that was for the water line across East State Street Bridge. And then 250 has been moved to, for the splash pad. 100,000 moved for the BBGP marketing, and 100,000 been moved for, the BBG real estate. So that leaves us with 95,495.05 in the ARPA funds for the current year. Okay, so we want you to, now we are anticipating getting a second payment of ARPA funds in the neighborhood of,
That's 686,272.96.
okay, so so we wanted you to have that moving forward here.
What is that?
686,000,
June?
oh,
Uh,
between June and July.
We got it last year in July, and they said we would get it around the same time,
So I'm hoping we'll get it in
So-
July, so.
yeah. Okay, so that's what we have right now, and we wanted to have a good concept of what we have available to potentially use. Okay, now, under the capital project, I'll let Lance take over from here, so.
First one, it's the rec center. Chris asking for 42,000 for 6 bumper cars. We need funding for 2022 budget. We have Chris here, if you have any questions.
You mean like bumper cars, like kids get in and
Yeah.
smash into each other?
And before we go, we do have a sheet in there, the packet, for each
Yeah, this capital
each capital
fund,
project.
this capital project, we
He
can
may,
refer to.
Len's gonna make a reference to, like, say, okay, capital project 102, and then, so these are all in order for your review as we talk about things.
So you can see the activities of what's going on in those capital funds, as far as expenditures and money that coming in of each account.
Okay, we have Chris here, to talk about these bumper cars. We proposed this a couple of times now, and, we have Chris here, he has a handout for you about them.
Thank you, Matt. One for you.
Is that it?
Huh?
Here's a mine.
I'll fight over it. I got plenty. I got plenty. Yours?
Sure we can forget.
Give me one over to Bill. I think he's got one. Okay, as the mayor stated, we discussed this last year as a possible capital project for the rec center. Again, brought you this to look at. This is what the closest arena to us has. These is the Jamestown, or the North Bank Savings Arena in Jamestown. And these are some of the different activities that they do with them. As you can see, they've done it in different ways for private ice rentals, birthday party rentals. They've split their ice in half and had half public skating and half bumper cars. They've had just bumper cars. So again, what we're looking to do here, again, we have a eight-month ice skating season at that recreation center. And not everyone that comes through those doors enjoys ice skating. They like to do something different, fun, exciting. And we feel this is a great possibility. Yes, there is an upfront expenditure of about $42,000, but we feel we can get that money back. As I stated 2 weeks ago when I was here, we had over 13,000 people, ice skaters, come through those doors this year. And that was a 10% jump from the year before. And we're anticipating this to keep growing and growing and growing and growing. We just want to continue to add as many activities as we can, because that facility, 2/3 out of the year is an ice skating rink. This gives us another avenue to attract families. We want people to come, bring the kids, get on the bumper cars. Maybe they want to stay later and go ice skating, or vice versa. I know one question we faced last year was, well, aren't we booked up with ice time at the rec center? Great question. Yes and no. What do I mean by that? There's always open time. What do I mean by that? During the daytime, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. This is where we could utilize school groups that we have coming on an occasional basis, team building exercises with all of our different industries and businesses, as well as private rentals. During the weekends, we're closed at 7:30 on Saturday and Sunday evenings. Great time period, 7:30 to 9 or 9:30.
Yeah.
Just ice bumper cars. Again, it's a 28-week-long season. And these would be rented out in 15-minute intervals. So depending on what you charge, and I ran the numbers, they're charging $6 for a 15-minute ride. It's $144 an hour. If you
People
have-
are paying that?
I'm sorry?
People are actually paying $6 for 15 minutes?
Oh, yeah. People in some rinks are paying $13 for a 15-minute ride. So,
That's a fair ride, right? That's a ride at
So-
the carnival.
I guess I'm left in the thirties, I guess.
You know, another question that was posed, would we need to have extra help? And the answer to that is no. We have a manager on duty and at least one or two skate guards. What we do some very brief, simple safety instructions, common sense stuff that we be trained how to do. Get people out there and do it. You know, 6 cars is an initial investment, and if it goes well, and we can seek out maybe other sources of, or community organizations to sponsor some more.
What are these things powered by?
Battery, electric.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long do they run on battery if we're gonna, well, because even on the best case scenario, you probably can't anticipate with time getting 4, and you probably are gonna get 3 in per hour, right?
Right.
So how long does the battery last? I mean, do we?
8 hours.
8 hours?
8 hours.
Or extension cords.
No.
What did you say so you said there's, how many of them, Chris?
We're asking for 6.
6?
Yeah, they're,
And you said at $6 for 15 minutes?
if that's what we went with, or we get $144 an hour in revenue just from that. If we charge $6. Remember, you have 6 different people at 15-minute intervals.
And is that, so the $144 per hour in revenue, that's for all 6?
Correct. Correct.
And that's if you could run it 4 times
But-
in an hour, which I would guess probably is a little, right? I mean,
Remember, the 15-minute interval has the 5-minute introduction and getting them on and off built into it. So realistically, it's about a 10-minute ride. That's how it's done with any rig. You can't just say, here you go, and take it out and go. It's gotta be, you know, a couple minutes of, hey, please remember,
I've got an additional well, does anybody have any more questions in regards to, so the way, the way we do it is we'll kind of collect all of our thoughts, we'll get all of the information as regards to the capital, project requests. We'll mull it over and discuss it and ultimately come back with some comments, and feedback. Does anyone have any more, I don't wanna change gears, I do have something else to ask Chris, regarding the bumper cars.
no, I think we should go to Jamestown and
Check them out.
check them out.
Yeah,
we'll
have to go. We can all go.
I've got a question though, Chris, and it has come up, just a handful of people now in our community have asked me, and speaking of the inclusive park, wheelchair accessible, friendly, inclusive for the ice skating rink. Specifically, kids that can't stand on their own accord. Have we done anything? Are there any plans? Are there any options that we could pursue to help with, make sure anybody, regardless of their ability, can get out on the ice?
Yes, recently we purchased 6 additional adjustable skate training aids. These are the folks, again, adult, any height, they adjust, you can push on the ice. Then we purchased some smaller units, they're actually mini Zambonis, but you can put small kiddos on, and the parents can push him or her around if they have difficulty getting on and off.
Okay.
And we have the third option, which is a plastic skate trainer aid, which we've had for many years, which folks can use for that too. And these have been people have been grabbing these off the floor as soon as we put them out there, so.
Now, are any of those, again, people who, residents or clients from In Tandem who might be large and adult but unable to stand, would anything like, do we have anything that would be accessible for them?
Something along those adjustable lines would probably work for most. We've had some folks over there from some of the groups home, and they've used them.
Okay,
Again, it's gonna depend on exactly what your level of ability is.
Right.
I don't know if I can give you a general
Okay.
answer to that,
okay,
but we're moving in that direction,
Okay.
and the feedback that we've gotten so far has been nothing but great.
yeah, of course, I fully support that, I think that's great, and anything that we can do to support that, please let me know.
So John, you're really talking about somebody who maybe is wheelchair bound, who couldn't go. Do we have something that would allow them to have the experience?
Yeah.
Is really what you're saying, versus somebody who might be able to bear their weight with a walker, so to
Yes,
speak.
yes. Yep, that's exactly.
With these bumper cars, and I know what they are, I've been in them before when I was a kid, but, I mean, would the city's insurance rates go up because of possible injuries? I mean, these things are probably going fast, right? You could get a neck injury or whatever, I'm just wondering.
We've got a blanket policy, so it's no different than a child falling on the ice over there. I don't believe it's going to be a big jump. We have a budget policy that covers everything we do.
And it does look safer than bumper cars. I was imagining bumper cars, I feel better with ice bumper cars.
And there's only 42 rinks across the globe that have these.
That's how you get me, Chris, you gotta lead with that. I like Olean to be cutting edge. I like to bring chaos into
Or
the city.
there's only 42 because they suck.
Mr. Half-Full
I'm
guy.
just saying, like, you know,
Well, that's why we need to go to Jamestown and take a trip. You can bring your daughter.
Team building.
We'll go practice and see.
42 grand could build almost an entirely new playground in the city of Olean. Just saying. Not against it, but, eh.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks for your consideration. Let me know if you have any other questions.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Yep.
Okay, next on this list here, we have the IT department in the city building. And we talked about this during the presentation. We have Jerry here for, in case there's any other questions. But what we would like to do is the phone service, $65,300. The financial accounting software, $15,000. And then the online meeting, and I guess that would be the, what I call, I guess I can call it the Sheldon, because it'll have a screen, and when we do our, like here, we would have the screen set up at one side, and we can see people and they can see us. So we would like to use, and we mentioned this before, we have $95,000, a little over $95,500 in the ARPA funds this year. So we would like to use that money, that $86,300 out of that, and that would bring this out of the budget, and we'd have that paid for. So,
I think that's a good use.
okay. And then, okay, next would be the fire department, and the chief, you wanna talk about that?
Oh, yeah.
You know what you have on here?
Doom and gloom.
No.
Basically what we have here is, let's see which one we got first.
It's,
Okay, so, I just wanted to give you an update on where we stand for our current projects. The generator for Fire Station 1, which is replacing, I know I've shared it with Mr. Robinson. It's, you know, it's seen its day. That should be delivered sometime in April. Once that comes in, we'll pour the concrete pad for it. It's gonna go out on the rear side of Fire Station 1 towards South Second, where that vacant lot is now, that the city owns. As it stands right now, we got it in time before the prices really started to increase, so it looks like we're still pretty good. We've got 36,000 budgeted in that capital project, and right now, as it stands, we're under budget. The Central Fire Station HVAC, Director Ring bid that out, and it came in $70,000 over projected. The two local manufacturers, or two local HVAC companies, never bid. Recommendation of Bob, the mayor and I have talked, is that we rebid that so we can give a more accurate projection of where we stand with that project in its entirety. The new fire truck, we just received an update last week on that, obviously with supply chain issues. Just to give you an example, right now that same company is projecting out 700-day build times for fire trucks. So that's, you know, that's where we stand right now. Salamanca just bid one out, and the manufacturer wouldn't guarantee delivery prior to 18 months, until 16 or 18 months. So we're anticipating the sales rep felt pretty confident about late summer. So instead of June, we're gonna see it probably more August, September is where we're heading there. So that's just kind of a rundown of where we are with this year's projects. Proposed for next year's projects, Phase 2 of Fire Station 1's masonry repair. We received a bid quote, or a quote on this for $63,000. That's with the anticipated increase in building materials. What that would do is, last year we rendered it safe. That was that emergency repair we did. Now this would reconstruct the metal cornice. If you look out front of Fire Station 1 and look up, it's that big yellow piece that goes across, and it's metal and it's rusted all the way through. So the birds are in there, and if that thing comes down, that's pretty heavy. So that would be repairing that, and also repairing the rest of the masonry around the footprint of the building. And that, yeah, that's $62,000. The other part was one we pushed from last year and combined with this year's, would be to replace the the concrete at Fire Station 1 and Central Fire, if you walk around our sidewalks, they're trip hazards. And some of the aprons are cracked, they've been kind of neglected. That's coming through engineer, or DPW engineering did the quote on that, or did an estimate, and that's where we come in at, I believe we come in at 75,000.
What do you mean they're trip hazards?
Or they're just bulb right up and broke and cracked sidewalks.
So if you're walking along, there's a potential for
Yeah.
you to trip.
Is that everywhere on North Union Street?
Yeah,
Well, but we should be better.
yeah, but, since it's North Union
$75,000
Street,
though.
isn't that part of the North Union Street
Okay.
facelift we're doing this year? The one that Benson's doing?
Is that in the front or the rear?
This would be front and rear.
Front or rear?
We can find out if it's covered under the
Yeah,
front.
because if it's covered under that, then we
Right.
can deduct it. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll look at that. And then this would be both stations.
So the HVAC, and I remember, yeah, we partially funded that.
Yep.
That's not something that our new HVAC personnel individual is able to install?
Yeah, we could certainly look at that and then see if we can get the price down. I don't know
Yeah.
if,
We thought, I mean, we allotted, in the council allotted $50,000 for that. And then there is a question of, was there another $40,000 moved into that fund? We can't find that, we can't find any record of it being moved by the council from any account or that into there. But there's some indication that fund is supposed to have $90,000 in it. And I recall possibly talking about it, but nothing was done. So, and we're not sure, Lens has been checking everything and so,
Because all I could find is 50 grand. According to Tiffany, I think fire chief requested 100,000.
That's correct.
Only 50 was given, so I don't know if.
and the engineering's already come out of that. Clark Patterson Lee did the engineering of the project and the plans and all that's done, ready to go.
Right.
It'd be, the other thing I know Brad and I have talked to, is this gonna be something that's covered by, underneath the energy company, under Stark, to see if that's maybe an avenue too. But I just wanted to kind of give you an update as
Yeah.
to where we stand on this.
Yeah, I recall the conversation we had last year. I thought it was either 90 or 100,000 was the ask. And then we said, with optimism, whether we could do it partially in-house or whatever, what could get the job done. And I think the number of 50,000 came up.
Yeah, low
And-
bid
and
was
that's what we-
160.
That's what we assigned. What was it?
160.
160.
And that was only replacing would be the main area of the fire station, and then another 30,000 was the apparatus bay, which would be the infrared tubes that heat the concrete instead of, because every time you open them bay doors, you lose all your heat. So whereas if you got the radiant tubes on each corner of the bay, it heats the concrete so it stays warm in the building when you open the bays. It's much more efficient, and something like getting energy credits and those would be.
we can look into that. So,
Okay. Any other questions? Comments? Okay.
anything else, chief?
Anything else, Chief?
Nope, that's all I got. Go Bonus.
Yeah, right.
Engine 41 is in the building being built, right?
Correct, yep, it's waiting to get on the line, they say, once it gets on the line, then it's 8 to 10 weeks, once it gets on the line, so.
I think it's already funded, right?
Yes, that was funded last year, yeah, we got on that. They're saying now it'd be close to probably 650,000 to build that truck, so we got it in advance.
Okay, next is sewer water, and Brad, you're still here. You wanna talk about those capital projects?
Yeah, we got the Buffalo Street underpass. Basically, we wanna do some structural improvements there, it needs electrical upgrade and basically a total overhaul of the electrical and mechanical and structural components of that building. We also wanted to add a generator there, because if we lose power during a rainstorm, that underpass is gonna flood, and then we won't be able to use that underpass to get out of it.
I guess can you explain it? So that's news to me. So that little house that sits there, is that what you're talking about?
Yep,
next to the Buffalo Street underpass?
yep,
And that does something?
yeah, there's 2 pumps in there.
It's
Well,
not,
this is news to me.
it's not
So
a
the
broom
water
closet.
that flows into that, grading in the middle of the
And
underpass
it
there.
pumps the water.
Yes, so it goes into a well, and then it pumps the water from there into the 2-mile creek.
Oh.
You sure the pumps are working? That road looks like it's, your crane's got better roads than that one.
That looks pretty bad.
Well, there's a sign, it's rough road.
Right. Does that 200,000, is that just upgrades for the house there? Or does that include upgrades to the road too?
No, that has nothing to do with the road.
That's just upgrades to the pump house?
That's structural,
Okay.
electrical, and
Okay.
mechanical upgrades.
Okay.
We're talking about this little guy right here, right?
Yep, yep. So that goes way down in the
It's
ground, that's
what's in
probably
it that's expensive.
18 feet down or so.
The house itself.
Still, it's a,
Brad, you got it in the notes here, it says,
I'll say, yeah, 115,000.
115K in the 21, 22, which budgets we're in now, but we need the rest of the funding in the 22, 23. So that would, the difference there would be, what's it, who's,
Like 90 something, 95.
yeah,
Yep, so we have money allocated in this fiscal year's budget for some of those. I was gonna try to do a 2-phase approach, do the structural and then do the electrical and mechanical ones.
so is the 210 the real number, or is it 210 less 95 or whatever, less whatever we have
No, I
allocated?
think 210 can get it all done. But I need.
Well,
to
I'm
put-
sure it can, I'm trying to figure out if we,
But we already have the 115,
Yes,
okay, so
So
it's
we do-
95.
yeah.
So we make-
so is that right, is it 95, is the whole project 210?
well, I'm assuming it's gonna be right around there.
Okay.
I need to put it out to bid.
Right, but we have 210,
I have
of that
one-
210, we have 115 allocated,
Yes, we have 115 allocated already.
okay.
Yep.
You see what I mean, though, it's not
yeah.
So you need an
320,
extra
it's
95.
not 325.
No, no, no.
Okay,
Alright, so you need
I
95.
see what you're saying.
yeah,
Okay.
so really, it's not 210, really, it's 95, that number.
Right.
Essentially, yeah, an additional 95 on top of what we have now.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
So the backup generator, that's not included in that 210. I was gonna work with, Chief Richardson to possibly get something like that through the hazard mitigation grants or funding.
Wait, so I thought the whole project was the generator.
No, it needs, it's all rotted out,
The building?
yeah, down below. So like the ladder and the landing and all the structural components below need to be replaced because of the corrosion over the last 70 years or
Below
whatever.
ground, that's not, they're not right in that building, right on, you know, right at the level when you walk in.
Okay.
You gotta go down, how many,
Yeah, it's probably 20 feet deep.
yeah,
Really?
yeah,
That little house?
yeah, so
Yeah.
now,
I see
what-
another
yeah,
truck coming up.
I think council needs to see this.
I do.
Yeah.
I need to
I'll
experience
send you
this.
that.
So you
I'm not
have,
going down.
what do they have to go
Put your
down with
scuba down.
breathing apparatus, cause there's
No.
a, not in that one?
It's a confined
No,
space.
we
Yeah.
ventilate it,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, so,
yeah. But there's 2 landings. So we have some stormwater from Westfall coming into there, and then we have the water from the underpass coming into there, and then it's all pumped out.
Oh. Okay. So that's an extra 95, what's the 136, is that connected to that too, or no? That's something different?
Yeah.
Oh, the 136 is the
210, get 95.
reservoir valves.
Yes.
the backup though, and that's, not including the generator and the Buffalo Street underpass, so that would have to be added on.
Right. That doesn't include emergency power.
Where's the generator?
There is no
But-
generator on.
We don't have a
What's
generator.
the need one?
But are you asking for one?
Not yet.
Right.
Well, you were
No,
gonna
he said
talk
it's good
with.
for-
Trying to get it under the.
Oh, you're trying to get it under a grant?
Okay.
Yeah,
Hazard
under the
mitigation.
hazard mitigation stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much does that cost?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
You remember what it was over on Fourth Street, South Fourth Street, what was that generator?
I don't remember.
It's somewhere in my brain is saying 50-some thousand, and maybe,
No, I think that
Maybe
sounds
it-
right.
I was thinking about 37.
yeah, so,
That sounds
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
okay.
Moving down to the 136,000, that was the last quote that we got for the 4 valves that need to be replaced up at the reservoir. That way we can isolate one tank from the other. Right now, we cannot.
Why do we need to do that?
Well, we need to inspect the reservoirs. I believe it's every 20 years, so they're past due. So we need to isolate one side so we can use one side, and then have the other side cleaned, inspected, and put back into service. And then just, do the same in the other one.
So does that mean when we do the inspection, say we were to do, like, get forced to do the inspection now without the valves? You gotta drain them, that doesn't mean the water's off, right? It just means, I guess I don't understand how those things work.
So right now, we pump water from the filtration plant
Yeah,
into the system, pressurize the system, the excess water goes into the reservoir to build the level up there.
yeah.
So that's at 36 feet, say at 3 PM, and then as the usage goes on, it falls, and then they come in the next day, and then they can fill it again.
But if we drained it for a day to do an inspection, how would that impact people of Olean and their water use?
Well, we would be relying on 2 wells, and we'd have to run the plant, potentially continuously,
For a day,
or probably 16 hours during the peak usage.
one day every 20 years.
Well,
So-
it's gonna be, they'll have to be offline for 2 weeks probably.
To
Take
drain?
it down, clean it all, have the company come in, inspect it, and then do whatever needs to be done, and then put it back online.
And these are different than the other 2
Yeah.
valve repairs that you have, right, in the original?
Yeah, that we took out of your.
Right,
Like
yeah,
we
those
took one
are,
out and the other was for Mount Herman, right?
Right.
yeah, the other valve replacement is the 14 valves in the distribution system that don't work.
I guess I still just don't understand, like, even if it is down for 2 weeks, how does that impact the users? Like, does it mean they don't have water?
No,
Or is
we would-
water pressure gonna be less?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I
And
think
we're-
we
and
would-
we're
it would be a
running
huge risk as
Yeah.
far as fire suppression,
Okay, all right.
that,
You'll have to use less, John, during that time.
because I don't think our wells can't keep up.
I'm just thinking of like something that we have to endure. We're gonna spend we wanna spend $136,000 on something that we are gonna use once every 20 years.
Well, I would like to use them more often by changing how we operate.
Okay, fair enough.
I would like to use one tank to its full potential while the other one is offline. So use one, fill one, flip them, use the one that we just filled. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I do. It makes sense. What you're saying makes sense. Yep. Gives you more flexibility.
Right.
Takes some of the
That way.
constraints off the system.
Right. Water
Absolutely.
quality's better, it doesn't sit up there as long.
Yep.
So Brad, how long is the water that's in there now?
They fill it every couple days, sometimes every day, it all depends on usage.
Okay, so it's not just sitting there?
Right. It's typically, we fill it on second shift. So they fill it from, say, 3 o'clock to 10 o'clock, and then we use that water plus the 2 wells, and then the next day, they don't start it up until 3 o'clock or
Okay.
3:30, and then it's filled back up again.
Yeah, just so folks don't think it's just sitting there.
No, it's not the same.
If you want the freshest water, what time of the day should you?
I would say afternoon.
3 o'clock.
Brett, to kinda get something that, where my brain goes to, as far as Paul wondering about the cost to do what we gotta do. And that there's valves that need replaced. Is there some kinda, are the valves just that old? Is there some kind of maintenance routine they can get that would make them last forever, or?
Well, what I wanna do, right now, they're just buried in the ground, and we just have valve boxes that you stick the stem down and you turn on or off. how they operated since those were built was they both get filled and emptied at the same rate. They don't isolate one from the other, so they've been
In fact,
open.
they've never been.
They've never been
worked as part of the
actuated
problem.
essentially, right.
Yeah, okay.
So what I would propose to do is to, when we excavate and expose these valves to replace them, I would build a box, a vault, basically around it, so you can get to them to maintain them
Okay, yeah,
better, you
yeah,
know.
makes sense.
Okay. Okay.
We can just stop there, cause the next one's a big number.
It's always been.
The levy accreditation, we don't know what that's gonna come in at.
Oh, yeah.
It's-
We're still waiting on that, right?
Yeah.
yeah. So if you go down to the 1.2 million, that is the south wall of the filtration plant. We were hoping to get a grant for that, we were not selected for that grant, unfortunately. So the media, the filter media in the plant is original. And there's some structural issues there, so we need to replace the exterior wall of the 3 basins there. So that would be replacing all the media, so you'd be good on the media for the next 20 years, and you'd repair the structural damage to the wall.
And that's on the East Riverside Drive facility?
No, that is on River Road, North Olean.
Remember that big crack we went to see that one
Yeah,
time?
yeah, it says East Riverside Drive.
I don't know what it's-
Apology.
Yeah.
What?
I thought that's what he meant, my apology.
Oh,
That's supposed to be south wall.
It's around River Street.
Way to go, Lance. Drop the ball. You know, Fred wouldn't have made that mistake.
I know.
Well, he had been silent until you were like,
the, south,
no, no,
south
it's
well,
on River Street.
It's supposed to be south wall of the plant.
Now that mistake would have been, it would have been $1,200.
Yeah.
wow,
And, looks like that's it for water sewer, other than the siphon project, that's the South Olean sewer siphon that we want to, basically abandon the 2 siphons that go under the river from the boat launch to Fran Shop and put in a pump station and pump it underneath the bridge and then over.
And we still don't have still looking for grant opportunities for that project, is that kinda, cause that's gonna be a big dollar item, right?
Do we,
Yeah,
are we looking for grants just for the investigation amount, or do we have an idea what this would cost?
I sent that to, I think it was
we did,
1.2.
we put in, we put in for a grant for that too, we didn't get it. So we're hoping with all this new infrastructure money, you know,
That'd be good.
that we'll start to see some money coming our way, so.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that sitting there long enough now, and obviously I've heard that it's been sitting for a while, so.
What's that, the walls?
The siphon and the wall,
Yeah.
so I mean, they're 2 things that, I know they don't look good, but, you know, they're long overdue.
Maybe we can get Mexico to pay for it. So maybe we can get Mexico to pay for it.
Mexico, New York, or North Syracuse.
Okay. Okay,
We have DPW.
Okay,
Which is down there, but-
DPW, the airport runway, that is fully funded by the FAA, that's, we're moving that along. The boat launch was funded, funded by Cattaraugus County. We had to get an extension by the county for the money until June, so I have Bob Ring Senior working on that project. That was kinda got left behind, so we're getting that going. We're hopefully we'll have that all done. With that'll be a handicap or launch ramp like they have at the other places. So we're moving, that one's moving along. Branch Route entrance, Bob Ring Senior, I'll call him, is also working on that design. and, we have 50,000, in that fund. The salt shed, the idea was to use, I have Bob also working on that. So the idea there, as we talked a couple of weeks ago, is to use the money that is gonna be left over in the salt
Yeah.
account there. So we'll know better once we move along on that. The city building entrance, now that is, that was explained, that we're gonna need some more money for that. We had, the beam repair, and we got the steel structure, the steel beam that's being, made now for repair. The lowest bid came in at $4,528.37. So once that comes in, we will be coming back to you, with what we need. And I think I think we need, gonna need probably in the area of, $6,000 to $8,000 to finish up that project. So, then Greg, the assessor, Greg has asked for, that we increase the money for a reevaluation. We do have 50,000 in an account right now, and, but he thinks we need another additional 100,000 so that we could do a reeval in the city. So we'll let you consider that. And then, the next thing, and we've been, vehicle replacement, and we have, a request, and everything has been provided to you from the minutes from the vehicle. What do we call it, our
Fleet meeting.
fleet, yes, I'm sorry. So the idea is to, replace 5 vehicles in the water department, 5 in the sewer, 6 in DPW, 4 in the fire department, 2 in the police department, 1 community car, and then shared vehicles would be mechanics 1, engineering 1, HVAC vehicle 1. So, this would be on a 6-year lease, and the annual payment, out of the general fund would be $96,323, roughly in that area. Out of the water fund, $28,500, and out of the sewer fund, $27,802. Now, this would probably require us to bond the money. It comes out to roughly 96,000. I don't know if we want to bond it, or, I'll leave that with you on some thoughts on how we can do that.
What's a community car again? What is it?
What's that?
It says community car?
Community car, yeah. That's the one that's used, when anybody goes away. I use it quite a bit, and, some of the other, if we get people going to school, they use that. We have that, it's actually nice, there's a little gray car that sits out back there, so. So, I know we're throwing all kinds of numbers at you.
Well, quick question, Bill, why would we need to bond for that? If it's a lease?
Maybe I missed, yeah, if we were to lease it, yeah, we wouldn't have to bond, we wouldn't have to lease.
We would just build that into the budget,
Build
right?
that in.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm getting tired, so.
And these are all cars we could lease? Like, is this an enterprise thing we're talking, or are we,
No,
or something else?
no, we might be able to go that route. We probably could get a bid from them on it, and see, but there's been some resistance, especially from, DPW and our mechanic, head mechanic, about doing these leases, and, so, I would like to revisit that, and see what they could do for us, so.
So what's the hesitation to lease that they have?
I don't know, I just can't put my finger on it, so, but there's been some,
But we talk about a lot of fleet, like the county and other municipalities do a lot of leasing. I mean, they have what, like 40 vehicles or
yeah,
more?
counties will be up there, but we're leasing, we'll be up to, leasing 6 with the police department right now, and I think that's working out very well, so, that's, maybe I'll take the bull by the horns here and get a hold of Enterprise and have a meeting with them and see what we can do.
Yeah, I think looking at the numbers makes sense, just in my head thinking about where it makes sense and where it don't. I have a feeling, you know, if we take decent care of our cars and they tend to last 10 years, owning them probably becomes a benefit. But revolving in my, you know, I would be thinking like a 3-year, right? You're paying to always have like a perfect vehicle, and when it's not perfect, get rid of it. But, you know, maybe we're somewhere in between there.
Well,
We're-
just,
We're never reaping the benefits of owning anything. We're buying vehicles every year, right?
Yeah.
We might as well be renewing leases every year and
Well,
having,
yeah, just to give you an example, the one vehicle, the Ford 250 is a 2011. It's in the filtration. It's a 2013 Dodge Grand Caravan, 2013 Ford pickup, 2010, 2009. So it's, we do get, you know,
Yeah.
if we purchase them, we're gonna get a lot of use of it because they're not, we're gonna get probably 8 to 10 years out of the cars, you know, so.
And then you gotta start looking at where the costs
Yeah,
went up, what the car cost altogether.
but the other thing we gotta start looking at is, I think, you know, I think in the next 5 to 10 years, I think we're gonna need to really start at least in the next, I would say 5 years, we really start taking a hard look at electric vehicles. So that's, so maybe we're, you know.
mechanics aren't gonna like that.
Huh?
Those mechanics aren't gonna like that.
Yeah, but it's coming.
No, I'd be very
It is.
facetious, yeah.
It's done. So I think, that's our whole list of, now out of, next year's, or next year, I'll say, out of the next, ARPA funds that we're getting, we would like to fund, HVAC for the municipal building. We're guesstimating that to be about 200,000. HVAC at the John J. S. Community Building, we're estimating that to be about 100,000.
Can I ask a question about those two things? Why are those needed?
In this building, Paul, we have, we need a whole new system. The air quality is not good here, and we need to upgrade. The new HVACs will have I forget what the filters, the air quality filters. Plus, the heat and cooling in this building is so, it's so, like, I'll give you an example, my office, okay? One day it's cold, very cold, and then, I mean, during the summer months, it'll get up, sometimes it's up to 75, 80 degrees in my office. And it's just, they're doing their best to try to keep everything fluctuated here, but it's just, there's so much, if you remember, we put 95,000 into the controls. So we got new controls, but we got an old system to control, so now we need a new system that can make things, even an even keel throughout the building. Better heating, better quality cooling, less expense.
I think I talked to Kevin, the system's so old, the cooling uses water from the city supply, right, to cool this building.
That
So
and,
is that what,
Run a well.
is it like a circulation, or do we dump water that's used to cool?
the other thing that we've always talked about for years, are the windows. We have replaced some, but there's still a lot of windows
Yeah, that's,
that are just old.
we're hoping with the, what's that, what's the study that's being done?
Yeah, the energy conservation study.
Yeah, we're hoping to get some advice on that. And then we've already committed 250,000 for the splash pad out of the next round of ARPA funds. So that'll leave a balance of 136,272 in ARPA funds. Okay?
On second thought, Bill, this might be a 6-year bond is what this is. Is that, do you have any idea, Lens? For the
That's what,
vehicles, is it a 6-year bond?
What's his name? The guy from the garage, what's his name?
Municipal Solutions?
Yeah.
The garage guy.
Oh,
Mark?
Mark?
Yeah.
Oh, he said that?
Yeah,
I'm curious what
but I
that,
can find out.
if you guys can find, what does
Yeah.
that represent?
6 years.
Didn't they say in fleet it was a
It-
5-year
it-
lease?
You know, we've leased vehicles before, and it's not like when you lease a car.
Right.
it's, you know, it's government, so more people have to get involved.
Is it lease to buy? Is that?
So now, it's basically, they call it a lease, but you're paying over 6 years for the vehicle, then they're ours.
Yeah, so, okay, so
Yeah.
it's a purchase.
It's a
Okay,
purchase, but-
Okay,
Yeah,
they finance it, we lease it through their,
Right.
this government,
yeah,
whatever entity.
yeah,
So we're making $152,000 payments for 6 years, but then we own it.
yeah.
Okay, so it's not like a lease that we turn in after 6 years.
No,
I see.
no, that's where I get
I
confused.
get it,
Now, keep in mind that would be,
okay.
and that would be out of, general fund, 96,300, water and sewer fund will be paying for part of it.
So it's like rental, okay.
And that makes resistance to that, the leasing concept even more confusing. Like, why there would be people that would be against that, I don't know. Anyway,
Is there any stipulations to that, for fleet? Let's say we purchase these vehicles, and let's say we have equity in them over, after 4 years. You know, is there anything preventing us from selling those vehicles, taking the equity and purchasing new vehicles?
You mean, are you talking enterprise or?
No, whichever, however you're doing the 23 vehicles.
Yeah, I imagine it would be, you know, the resale value, if you want, yeah, I would say yes.
Okay.
Mhm. You wanna get into that, but, that's why maybe it's better to look at enterprise leasing, because they take the vehicles, and they sell them, and they give you, after what they take is their portion, and you get the rest, and that's built back into your lease. So,
And Mark does a good job at auctions, but not everything's, you know, really that good to send auction anymore.
And then one last, thing that is on that list, as far as, Mayor, when would you like to talk about, the Oak Hill Park funding, the project there?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Jen, I missed that, that's on here. Okay, Oak Hill Park funding right now is, as you can see here, the bids came in, and, we are at $305, and 305,165 short from what the bids came in at. And, I know, you asked me for the bid sheets, and I will get them out to everybody,
Okay.
so.
Great.
And we take a look at that, so, we only have one bidder, on both of the items. Bob has had some correspondence, with Benson, and I'm not sure, where we're at with that.
both items, which one?
The
stage and the?
yeah, the wood for the stage, okay, and then that came in at, 72. That came in at,
So you're saying that total project went from 350,000 with that DRI money to 600,000?
no, we only had 350,000, in DRI funds. Okay, Green Mountain Structural, they came in at 72,650 for the wood components, and then, okay, let's see, and then, we had the bid from, Benson, and that was $82,550, for, basically the rest of the project, and that would be, installing the wood structure on the stage, and then I'll provide these to you guys. But, so, we thought we were gonna get an additional 150,000 from the state, but, they have not come through with that yet, so, probably our chances are slim to get that, so, cause we originally thought that, we would plan this, that the city would be, about 150,000, is that way, something like that?
Yeah, when we had previously discussed this project, the DRI funding, the total project budget, scope was for $500,000. DRI funding was $350,000, and the majority of the council had committed $150,000 of city money towards that project. So now it has come in at around $660, so it is an extra $150, Dave. On top of the $150 we had committed previously, now that if we wanted the full scope of the project to be done, it would be $300,000 instead of $150,000.
You know what's interesting is the last several projects, the only person bidding is Benson. Is it just, that's the only person we're working with, or what?
I mean, we're getting itemized list for that project, so we can see what we wanna cut out.
The mayor, I asked the mayor to, provide us all with kind of a breakdown of the scope of the project and what the bids look like.
Now, I'm not sure how that works with, because they bid, I don't know if it's gonna take a rebid or what, because they bid on the project, so whatever we cut out, I'm just, I don't know how that works, we have to get some advice on that. But, we knew that, Christofoli was not gonna bid, because they have too much work, they told us that. And, I think that's what's going on now, is you got so much work out there with all the school projects that are going on.
Well, it just seems like all of our projects go to one person, and maybe we need to, put the net out further.
We do, we send that out,
This is
we
strange.
send that out to, on the, what they call it, it goes out,
Doesn't it go out to
Some kind of
ICOM?
network,
The
right?
clear
Goes out
contact
everywhere.
order.
Anybody
Yeah.
can,
yeah,
yeah.
It's not like you have to be a city of Olean resident or something.
yeah, so, it's nice to get local, people to bid, but, Northrop didn't bid, who else didn't bid?
Lake Shore, Jamestown?
Lake Shore, yeah, they're too busy, they're all just, it's, that time now, that's another option we have, is, take a look, we haven't awarded anything, and we could go to a rebid.
What is the, what I'm curious about is what is the timing with the DRI money in regards to that? Is there a 5-year period
Yeah,
of
we'll
time?
I'll have to, I'll get with Carrie tomorrow and.
Do you remember that, Paul?
I don't.
Yeah, there
There
is.
is-
I
there
thought
is,
there was a
but-
time
There
frame
is.
that we could use
Yeah.
the money by,
But
and I don't,
Yeah.
I don't recall it being, it was like a, try to get it done by then, it wasn't like use it or
You
lose
just
it.
have to be committed. I
Yeah.
don't think it has to be totally.
yeah.
Yeah, and and I hate to harp on this, but even with Benson, he's doing Northview and stuff, he's busy. So when is he gonna have time to do this?
Yeah, he's ready to do it, so,
I'm
that's all I
sure
can
he
say,
is.
so.
And I mean, to that credit, we had that $500,000 number pre-COVID, right? And we all know,
Yeah.
especially as far as construction materials go, that stuff's gone up 25% easily over the last 2 years, right? As far as wood and
Easily.
Yeah,
so I mean, that's 625. So I mean, it isn't out of the realm of, what, it's probably a legitimate bid by today's standards, but it's still a lot of money.
it is.
Well, it is, and I think the other thing is, there's so many other things that need to be done in Olean, even in our other parks. And Oak Hill Park, at the end of the day, is gonna be $1 million park, between the stairs that Eric Lane did for us and other projects, and I just think it's a lot of money.
Well, you missed it. Vernon, we're getting Marcus Park done. So that's one of the parks we can check off the list.
Yep.
Within tandem, so that's great. That's
Now, are they
good news.
taking, I wasn't here, and I apologize, I was at another finance meeting. Are they taking the field or just the park, or how's that working?
They're gonna integrate their idea and do their own thing with the park and incorporate a lot of what I presented in early February.
So that means the baseball, softball field, I'm not sure
Yep,
what it is.
yep.
That'll be gone,
Yes.
okay, and they're paying for it?
They are projecting 500,000 and they are somewhere roughly around 350,000-400,000 right now.
So they're paying for it?
Well,
With our
Or-
50,000.
With our 50,000.
Oh, I
but we'll
already
be,
know about that.
we just wanted to seek permission from the council to
Right.
move forward with working with them, and as for numbers, we will come back with all
Okay.
that. So,
Oh, I don't mind working with them, I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's, so,
Cool.
all right.
Anything else? Okay. You wanna do it? You wanna close out the session or keep?
I'll make a motion.
All right, I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned.